Make sure we're back. Oh no. Keep saying words. Not all the words. How about that? There we go. That's a thing that people like to see. Or that. Okay, I did two things, and I bet they'll work. I'm praying that they'll work.
I think it worked. Yes, I can hear myself on stream. Okay.
There we go. Okay, I know what I'm so close to knowing what I'm doing now.
You're so close. You're doing amazing. You are learning all the things and you're doing great.
Live in
Okay.
front of everybody.
Yeah. And that's not easy. That is not easy, my
Yeah.
friend. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, we are playing For the Queen. Not For the Queen. Goodness me. Our Queen Crumbles by Jason Brown. And if you are tuning in just after our break, please note that our Queen Crumbles deals with questions of loyalty, punishment, and the impact of death. And we are playing as characters watching someone that we love slowly fade away. So this is a heavier game. It's a really good game because, like, oof, you can go for the feels, and that's real good. And I hope you both have been enjoying the feelsy moments. But if you are watching at home, that is something to keep in mind. And if it's too heavy for you, that's okay. You're welcome to take a break and come back a little later. We we understand. So, where we left off was at the Druid's Court. And now, Andrew, you get to pick our next location. Where are we going?
Uh, I am sort of thinking the Rain River Valley. Uh,
Mm.
it says most mornings, fog fills the beautiful Rain River Valley, kicked up by the enormous waterfalls that give the area its name. Many wealthy families from the lonely city own extravagant summer homes here, drawn by the cool mist and clear river. Travelers are usually interested in the riverboat that provides the only river crossing, though some come looking for the rumored Thieves' Temple, a secreted group with connections to organized crime all across Holloway. Uh, the question here is, what other travelers have crossed paths with on the road? Um, I think, uh, and then have they recognized you?
Mm-hmm.
I think perhaps speaking to Lark specifically, that perhaps he's encountered some random people that he knows through his like connections and things uh, across Holloway. And uh, back to Mark's thought going into the Druid Court, I think that we're still sort of in like disguise as like merchants going into this place.
Mm.
So we've seen people that we recognize, but they don't necessarily know that it's us.
Okay.
Um, and then the backdrop, I think, is oh man, I'm torn between the Mansa States
Mm-hmm.
and the Thieves' Temple. The Ferryman's Barge feels good in terms of like crossing the river, but I don't know if that's a thing we're really bent on doing. Uh, and I think in both of the Mansa states and the Thieves' Temple, that like presents an opportunity for Lark to gather information.
Yeah.
Uh,
So kind of like high society or low society.
Yeah.
Mm.
Which I think the Mantis states is the answer
Cool.
because we're disguising ourselves as like merchants selling things. And I think we fit in easier in a place where there's people, you know, which we can pitch our wares to. Yeah. So yeah, that's
cool.
That's where we're at. I think Lark takes like some time to like authenticate some random items just in case someone stops us to buy things. And I'll add the trait Master of Forgery here.
Hell yeah.
He is forging like these authentic documents for just random stuff we have. Like this is a item from like a long lost like person in history that like has high value, and so he's like forging documents as we're like traveling through here to make different things we have that are like of very low value into like items that we can sell to people if they stop us. Because the Mansa States feels like a place where they're going to ask questions.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, you've one more thing to do. You gotta pick a decay for the queen. I know.
It's the tough
yeah,
one.
it's the tough one.
So we got that. I think I'm gonna go. The Queen's will falters, and she must be convinced to continue.
Wow.
Mostly because I think like we just left the other place with like, you know, a little more information, but not really much more information. And I feel like that like not hitting an initial like, you know, windmill slam, we know what we're doing, we're going somewhere, is like, why are we doing this for the queen?
Yeah, you're right. And the rumor we had was the assassin travels at night, which is like okay. And
interesting.
So then I wonder what we might say to convince the queen to continue. Or I wonder what her attitude might be that makes her will falter. I mean, does she just want to like, she's like, I'm ready to pass on, this body sucks? Or is it just a fool's errand? Or maybe she thinks she has it coming? Or I'm curious.
Yeah.
That does present an interesting like question.
Maybe she doesn't tell us.
Yeah.
That too.
The queen is distant and sad, if you recall.
That too.
And, yeah. And so I think we can see that her will is faltering, but we're like, please tell us. And she's just like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Like I'm just having a hard time, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know.
She wants to be at home with her cats.
Yeah, she's missing her cats. She's sad. She's sad because, you know, she's crumbling. She's gonna lose her cats. Poor thing. I'd be sad too. I think we see Amala. I think we see her make ice cream
Hmm,
chilled by glass and magic, and
okay.
it's delicious. The trait that I'm picking is knows how to make delicious ice cream chilled by glass and magic, and like you don't entirely understand how this went from Amala purchasing just like dairy and ingredients, but like all of a sudden, like before the queen, she has like created this delicious ice cream, and there's enough for everyone. And she offers it to the queen as like a like, please, your majesty, like have something to eat. Like she's doing her best to cheer her up. It's like, let me show you this kind of this cool trick, but also like something that'll like hopefully be slightly cheerful. Like
I
she's
also
trying.
think
She's
I
really
also think
trying.
it would be good with the in the Mansa states to have people the lords and ladies come out and like try and get our ice cream, and that way we've got the opportunities to like interact with them potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. There's enough ice cream for every single lord and lady. Like this is a spectacle that
Yeah,
Amala has now created, I think.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
uh, so, one of my things in my satchel
Mhm.
is a short list of nobles who have not yet submitted all their taxes to the castle. uh,
Incredible.
and I think Lark pulls this list out and says, "I can get them to answer questions in like the way of like, uh, you know, we can let your taxes go if you can give me information uh, as like a trade." Uh, and so I think he's like looking at this list, and he looks up and says, "Typically, I have a large group network uh, going to places and doing things for me, but I wanted our presence here to be a little more quiet. And I wonder if you two would be interested in tackling some of the people on this list. Uh, Essentially, they owe taxes to the castle. Um, so we have them answer questions and forgive them.
Hmm.
Look,
It,
if I'm not mistaken, you're describing blackmail in the most political way possible.
that is one way to put it.
It's a business dealing.
Right, right.
Do we wish to be intimidating?
Uh, I mean, we could be. Uh, we could also play the opposite role of being a very understanding person who, knows these taxes are ridiculous and outlandish. Uh, we're just trying to help them and, gather some information that we need.
Which do you think is best?
Uh, I have always thought that camaraderie brings more answers than antagonism.
Hmm.
Naturally, it's a spy master, better to make more friends than enemies.
They're all my
However,
enemies.
hmm,
I just pretend to be their friends.
curious thing to say, like, However, I look on the list and I see someone that I know. So one of my deals is a rival knight eager to prove their superiority. This is a knight, uh, little older, quite a bit older, like my dad's generation. This guy beefed with my dad. They were both knights and they both rivals. I was born, and this knight shit all over me since I was birthed, basically. Since I was born, basically. And so he's got just a beef against our family. Maybe back in the day there was some, like my great great grandfather slept with his great great grandmother or something, some kind of scandal that he's holding on to for no reason. But I see that knight's name on the list, and I know they've retired to this region. Uh, and I approach that knight, and again, I'm pretty broken over the events that have happened last, like since the assassination attempt. Um, and he does his thing of talking down to me, looking at my one armed self, and then I mention his taxes and that he hasn't paid them in a while. And there's no surprise he's as successful as he is now, because he ain't paid shit in taxes. Um, and it's quite a little scene. And I don't know if I get any information from him, but it is
That's okay.
very dramatic. Yeah.
I love it. I funny that you say that because where I was gonna go, I saw another trait that would be perfect for this. Um, Once poisoned the robber baron Bertold, and I was like, a robber baron would probably be in the Rain River Estates. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I think she sees like Bertold on the list, and she's like, "Oh, I got that one." Like there's a wicked little grin on her face, and she's got that bladed velvet cape on still. So she just looks very sharp and dangerous, and she's like, "I'm gonna go talk to Bertold." And you're like, I don't know if y'all are like, do we even want to know? Like, you know? But yeah, I think she goes to see Robber Baron Bertold and ask him some questions, uh, and remind him to pay his taxes or pay her a favor instead.
Mm,
His
Hmm.
choice, since he's a robber baron,
yeah.
like. Let's see. What about Lurk? What's Lurk doing?
I um I think so. I've used both of my traits here, but I
Oh,
think
gotcha.
I go you know to some of these different nobles' houses and sort of ask like where all their money goes, less than like you know, uh, and more of a way of like I guess approaches them and kind of is like I've noticed that you're on this list of these dreadful taxes, and I, uh, it's so hard to do anything or have any fun, or you know, when you're paying all this money, and uh, I just I just wonder if we were to forgive you, what kind of interesting things could you get into with this money? As I think I'm going to come into a sum of money myself. Uh, and as he goes around, I think the like key thing that comes up is uh, privacy. Like he gets that lots of people pay money for people not to be in places that these people hang out.
Are
And
you
that's
thinking of
like,
the rumor that I'm thinking of?
yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, because, and I think like that's his takeaway from that when he comes back. He's sort of like, they really do spend a lot of money um, not wanting to be seen.
Hmm.
which explains quite a bit of the wealth in this area, doesn't it?
Yes. Bertold said much the same for me, that the assassin spends lavish amounts of money wherever they go to buy privacy.
Bertold.
Oh, Bertold. And to think he survived my poison.
Were you not very good at poisoning at the time?
No, it was more complicated than that. I'm a very good poisoner,
Oh,
but he managed to beg for forgiveness in time from the queen, so I had to give him an antidote. I was very disappointed.
so you showed mercy.
I did.
At the queen's behest, of course. I mean, what could
Of
you
course.
do?
Yeah. I would never deny the queen.
Uh,
I know Larkman was a good poisoner too, though. I mean, had you gotten the poisons from Lark, you would have never had to deal with the queen in the first place.
I Unfortunately, there are not many antidotes for the poisons that I make.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think the queen wanted this to be more of a, a bargainable situation. Poison the robber baron, but don't actually like give him some time to to think
Con-
about his potential impending death, and when he feels very apologetic to the queen, then I can give him the antidote. It was kind of one of those situations.
yeah, I know how the queen gets in her moods. She's pretty hilarious
It was pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie.
in her own dark way. Yeah.
Yeah. All while petting a cat. Like,
The cat petting, the
the
most
cat petting.
important part.
The most diabolical part is the queen would just sit there and pet the cat. Have we hit all our points for this one? I think
I
so.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. How are we feeling? Do we want to do 2 more locations and then hit our conclusion? I was saying that during the break, but I want to confirm based on time, energy, so on and so forth. If we're feeling like we only got 1 more location left in us, that's totally fine. Want to do 2 more, or however we want to do it?
I could go for more. How much more? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Fair.
But if we do another round, maybe I wouldn't be too upset. But that's just how I
Alright.
feel.
Yeah. We'll do another round. So I'll get both of you to lead again. You can pick another location, and then I'll finish us up with the tree under the mountain.
Okay.
So, Mark, go for it.
Oh no, now I have to pick one. Okay. Okay. So the rumors that we have so far are that the assassin only pretty much only travels at night, and that they worship the Prince of Death, or they follow the Prince of Death. And they're at least very wealthy.
Yeah,
Wealthy
they
enough
spend
to.
lavish amounts of money wherever they go to buy privacy. That one specifically.
So that leads me to believe. That leads me to believe that they would have at least needed somewhere else to hide out before going to wherever they may have needed to go. I think they would have gone to the tower and tavern.
Mm.
I think that's another good place for us to find a lead at least.
Right.
So the tower and tavern, a well-loved institution on Holloway's main road. This bustling restaurant and hotel serves a wide array of magical and mundane creatures. It is famous for its hot springs and infamous for its underground casino. Many casinos spend time in the Absinthe Tap House, which serves as a variety of mildly psychotic, which serves a variety of mildly psychotic, psychoactive cocktails. Whatever you are looking for in a vacation, you can find that tower. Definitely think the assassin would have either come through here or stopped by there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
what notable residents are currently staying at the tower? I think that there are a I don't know if there's a plural word for bards, but I think there's like a vague. I'm not just kind of a Vegas situation where a lot of people come to perform in kind of dingy nightclubs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
while everybody just gets high as hell on these psychoactive cocktails. Um, so I feel like they're having a reunion or uh, a con. It's Bard Con. It's Bard Con at the Tower and
Bard God.
Tavern, and they're all in town. So all the big name bards are in town for what it's worth. Um, and I think the backdrop for us is the Duke's Casino, and especially it's the Duke's Casino, which is the underground casino. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we want to head next. It's got that's where all the money passes through, right? All the big
Mm.
wigs come through and lay down lots of money at the tables with the cards. It's definitely a place where our assassin may have stopped by. So we find the Duke's Casino. It is a seedy place that smells of smoke and whiskey and beer. There's just people of all sorts walking around. Uh, there's sex workers, there's thieves, there's wealthy merchants, there's politicians. There's just almost anyone who's anyone. For an underground casino, it's like okay, but everyone knows it's here, and everyone like this is the place to be apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we kind of hit the floor. We hit the floor, and we're looking for leads. There's any number of people, but we're just trying to find out like who we can get, who can spill the beans a little bit. So let me find my. Oh yeah. So one of my traits that I'm going to pick up right now is once outdrank a troll, and so
Whoa.
I am hitting the bar, and I find someone who maybe Lark has kind of pointed out like that's a good person to ask questions to. I'm hitting the bar and I'm buying them drinks. And I am trying to get them as wasted as possible on a psychoactive cocktail to like get some information out of them. And
Okay.
I'm paying for this with my bag of stolen gold, which is coming from my satchel. So while I'm having these drinks, I'm gonna let y'all tell your stories, and then I'll see if there's a rumor that
I,
I dig up somewhere.
I'm a buttering just slightly because you have to pick a decay.
Oh yes, thank you.
Ah.
Good. Where are you, Decay? Oh Lord. Okay, so far the Queen has spotty skin about cracks. There's a curse whenever they walk. They're losing their will.
Mhm.
Um. mhm. And now the Queen's arm has shattered. The body is beginning to fall apart. I think along with the will goes the body. The soul is struggling to hang on, and the body is struggling to contain the soul.
Mm. Interesting. Okay, that's perfect. I think that because of that, that means that that Amala kind of is comes into the casino a little later. Like she stayed behind a little bit to like kind of try and tend to the queen as best as she can, like make sure that the queen is comfortable and like I don't think the queen can like feel anything if she's made of oxidized bronze, but like she's still like, oh no, you know, like she's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she will arrive a little later, but maybe Lark waits for her. Lark goes ahead without her. I don't know.
I think uh, Lark recognizes someone entering the casino. The vicar of the Church of Holly Garland, um, who he saved from an assassination attempt last year. And he sort of, you know, slides up with this guy. Uh, Vicar, it is interesting to see a man of the church in such a place. And after almost dying last year, you would think gambling wouldn't be something you'd be into.
Ooh. Oh, the tea, the shade.
And I think he's sort of uh, gets the vicar to like point out people that he recognizes and says, "Tell me who your friends here are." When he sort of has him like identify people in there in this casino, and then uh, yeah, I think he's just talking to the vicar about who he knows here, trying to gather information that way.
Mm. I think when Amala arrives, as she kind of looks around this casino, she spots her rival, the royal chef at arms, Elori
Oh,
du Jour. Yeah. And she's just like, what are they doing here? Like, you know, like she's like real like looking this person up and down, like dagger eyes type thing. Like, what are they doing here? Like, shouldn't they be like back at, the Lonely City? Like, what is this? So she's kinda like on red alert and she's not having it, you know? Um but I think she will then like go find Lark, and like she'll be like, I don't want to end up bumping into Lori, so I'm gonna stick with Lark, and it'll be fine. Like, I don't have to acknowledge that this person's here. Like, everything's fine. Um, and she yeah, she's brought some stuff in her purse, maybe, potentially, depending on what Lark wants to do.
Uh, I think I think it would be interesting to um, run into Berthold here, um, and use the other trait. I once stole a small glass prism from Berthold's manor,
Oh my
uh,
gosh!
and it's securely like fastened to like my outer coat. um,
Incredible, poor Bertold.
and uh, yeah, and I think I sort of like you know make a display of having it in like this space, and like there's nothing you can do now, like uh, you know, and like uh, yeah, and I'm sort of, I guess, having the vicar kind of traffic us through the casino, like passing through people and figuring things out.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, I think something that could be interesting is just like side chatting with the vicar as we're passing through things. I think maybe uh, the vicar mentioning that the assassin had stopped at the Church of Holly Garland,
Mm.
uh, uh, and that being the rumor that stops at every temple on the road, uh, and that the vicar, after hearing like our like small talk about like what we're looking for and like who would know that, uh, he says, I think the person you're talking about stopped at my church. Yeah. And
Mm.
uh, yeah, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I think. I think that's it for Lark. Really. I think in this particular setting, he is not in in disguise. He
Mm-hmm.
is full like I'm the spy master to the queen, because a lot of these people are people that he's like dealt with or been involved with um, in some form or fashion. He's like using his station as like a way to move in this place without causing like trouble.
Hmm.
I'm gonna then add, excuse me. So it turns out that the person that I was getting absolutely trashed with was the Duke themselves.
Ooh.
And of course, nothing happens. No one passes through here without the Duke's knowledge. I mean, the Duke runs this place. He's got his own spies and connections everywhere throughout here. Um,
Interesting.
and it's just one of those things where you end up drinking with somebody and then become your best friend, like for no reason at the bar. And we start to talking, and it gets louder and louder and louder. And Dante says eventually, and I loved the Queen. And quite a few people kind of get real small real quick. I think a couple people heard that. And just the idea, like, I loved the Queen, past tense, it kind of tips a few people off. And the Duke grabs me. He says, I think you're about to be cut off, good sir. And I look at him and I kind of sober up for a moment. And I say, what do you know? What do you know about what happened? Um, and I think I'm going to drop a rumor too. I think the Duke says that
Yeah.
uh, the assassin is a hero around these parts. That's why people have been protecting the assassin. The assassin is considered a hero by those who resent the Queen. And if you want to stay alive, you'll shut your mouth and leave as soon as you can, or be thrown out.
I think
Ooh.
I think Lark appears at like this juncture here, having found his way over there, and says, "We were in fact leaving. I do appreciate your time, Duke, and don't forget to pay your taxes." And sort of gathers everybody and is like, I think we need to go.
Yeah. Run away. Oh, that was so good. Oh my goodness. Yes. I love it. Okay. Are we ready for the next location?
I think we are.
All right.
I know I am.
Okay. Andrew, pick our next location for us, please.
I think I think the idea that there are people that resent the queen sort of rings in Lark's ear
Mm.
as like a um, place to sort of find information. Um,
Hmm.
so I am thinking, man, I'm thinking either uh, the Silicate Rose Desert or the town of Clay Pit,
Totally
because
up to you.
both of them speak to like uh, that concept.
Isn't that where Alara's from? The Silicate Rose.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Amala. Forgive me,
Yes,
Amala.
Amala is
Yeah.
from the Silicate Rose Desert, if that helps at all, but please feel free to pick whatever you like.
I think actually I do think that's a good idea.
Cool.
So yeah, the Silicate Rose Desert. As you near the edge of the queendom, green heath
Yeah,
is that
Heath.
what heath? Heath gives way to golden sand. This desert is home to beautiful naturally occurring glass roses that spring up from the dunes as well as vast stretches of blazingly hot, reflective flatlands. A group of local workers have banded together to transport water to the desert's scattered homesteads. You can see the mountain on the horizon. When does your water run out? Is the question. I think as soon as we get there, like
Wow.
we arrive at the desert and like we're out of water, and yeah, and I think the backdrop is uh, the Water Merchants Guild,
Mm.
and I think Lark will ask Amala. Uh, we seem to have run out of water, and I am aware that you are familiar with this place. What would be the quickest route to get more?
I do believe that we can make arrangements with the merchants to get some water. They should remember me still. It wasn't that long ago that I left here. Um, it's nice to be home, even if only briefly. Um, and Amala will get straight to it. Like you see her like she looks very in her element. She's walking through like between all of these like glass roses, and she speaks to the guild, to the Water Merchants Guild, and she explains the situation. Uh, and while she is doing that, can you tell us how the queen is decaying?
Oh,
I know we
it,
keep avoiding it. We're like, no,
it keeps happening.
it keeps happening.
Uh, I think I think uh, huh. I think in our like uh, uh, sort of uh, concept here, the queen is desperately thirsty, but her body cannot drink.
Mm. Oh,
Seems very like we ran out of water and we're
hmm
here trying to get water, and we think that it's like the problem of not having water, and then once we have the water, it's like, nope, that's not
That's not it. You just
that's
Mhm.
can't
not
drink
it.
it.
You just can't
Oof.
drink the water.
Big oof. Oh, that's so
Mm.
good. Yeah. Yeah. I'll let both of you do a couple of things, and then I think Amala will come back into the scene. So go ahead.
Okay. Oh, easy. Well, not easy. Dante has traveled quite around, is well traveled in service of the Queen, and is very much a survival. It is one thing as captain of the guard that he taught his troops was how to survive in all situations. And so, one of the things that Dante is able to do is find food and water even in the most hostile wilderness. So he's able to kind of talk to some of his sergeants, and they know what to do. They're not able to come back with a lot of food or water, but just enough to survive maybe for the day or so,
Mhm.
just enough. It's still very just heartbreaking. I mean, it's the queen is losing themselves. There's not much left of her anymore. She's moaning for water and thirst that she can never sate. And so Dante pulls out something that he's hidden from the queen since their childhood, and that is a book of poetry. And he says to the queen, he says, "Your Highness, Lilith, I've kept these from you for years, but I think it's time I read them to you." And Dante begins to read the like love poetry or love inspired poetry he's written about his precious Lilith, who he could never be with, um, in an attempt to distract her from the thirst and just the misery of being in the state she's in.
Mm.
And that's all I got.
I think Lark announces that he has a family matter to attend to, um, and goes and sees his twin sister, who is a knight in the Order of the Golden Lily, uh, and she's here in the Silicate Rose Desert, um, uh, doing some sort of meeting of some sort, and I think like one of his connections and people came to him and said, "Hey, your sister's here. You haven't seen her in a long time." And he goes to her and says, "Sister, I, I, I come to you mostly because I know you resent the queen as part of your station due to the nature of royalty and how power is shifted and changed. I I understand your resentment, but there are others that resent the queen who would see her dead. Have you heard anything of this nature?"
Mm.
Uh, and I think I think his twin sister tells him that uh, there is uh, stories of like a hero of the the less fortunate, um, and that she believes that's the assassin that we're looking for,
Hmm.
and sort of mirrors the information that we got before. Uh, and then I think that's pretty much what he does for this whole thing, and then he catches up with his twin sister on what's been going on with her. Um, Unfortunately, not gathering like new information, but they're reaffirming what we know from a different perspective.
Absolutely. And I think as all of this is going on, um, Amala has been talking to the Water Merchants Guild, and and then she kind of like disappears for like the rest of the day. Neither one of you is quite sure where she is gone. But when she returns, she says, "Well, now we don't have to worry about water. I've arranged for plenty for us. Um, and once upon a time, I spent a night at the convocation of Desert Bay, and so I sought them out. And you see that Amala has like returned with this infamous glass spear called Mohan's Razor.
Mm.
And so she's walking with this glass spear. As if she didn't have enough sharp pointy things to begin with, you know? But she just keeps like anteing up like the amount of like I can heal you and hurt you, which is I didn't expect that from this character. It's very funny to me. But what she says next is a really interesting part, and she goes, "The Desert Fae told me that the assassin wields strange new magic, and this makes sense since they prayed to the Prince of Death. But it is another useful piece of information for sure."
Yes.
Yeah. Also, Mark, if you want to add another rumor, you might as well. Feel free. Go ahead, knock us out.
Oh,
I love the rumors. They're so fun.
all the
You don't
rumors are
have
true.
You don't have right. You don't have to, but I was like, if you wanna. I feel like we've all like put a little something in this for this scene, and then the next one's gonna be a wrap up anyway. So it's like, get it in there.
Okay.
leave no regrets, no hesitations.
Let's
If you want,
do.
you don't have to.
Okay. How long ago were your people killed, Amala?
Ooh, my people. What does it say? 12 years ago.
Hmm.
It occurred
I
at the prison, it's like on the edge of the desert.
say again.
It occurred at the prism, which is like a location that's like at the edge of the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So it occurred at the prison, but the people were from this area.
Yeah, it occurred at the prism, but we are like the desert people. And like if you look at the map, like the prism is like right on like the edge of the desert.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's one of my favorite locations.
I go to both of you, Luck and Amala,
Hmm.
and I say that hmm, in my time with the Queen, I she was able to whisper something, kind of just through her agony, and she told me that Amala, you are not the last of your people.
What?
That the Queen believes that the assassin is also one of your people. Was the last member of a once great house was one of your people.
Oh, that's so good. No, I do not. I see, no regrets. I'm glad I made you do that. Oh, that's so spicy. Mala's in shock. She's just like,
But you might be the last of your people if, and that's what Dante says is like you, depending on how this turns out, you or the assassin might be the last of your people,
Oh, it's so spicy. How
or
will
this
Kamala
might be
do
the
to an answer?
complete end of your bloodline, totally of your whole people, depending on what happens next or in the future.
Dun, 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 dun. I don't think Kamala answers you. I think she's in shock. I think you just like see like her grip on the spear, like it's just like white knuckled, but she doesn't have the words for this. All right, we are we are going. Stop me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that our next destination is the tree under the mountain because we're getting close to time.
Okay, yep.
This
Yeah.
place has a legendary history and a loathsome draw. You must decide for yourself what you find here. And the question is, what is the tree under the mountain? Now, I'm going to scroll up really quick and go through how this last bit takes place, and then we can answer that question. Your journey is over, and you have arrived at the tree under the mountain. Conduct a conclusion scene to finish the story. 1. Work together to mark a conclusion on the assassin's sheet and decide how it came about. Do you take revenge on the assassin for their crimes? Does revenge bring you peace? 2. Mark a conclusion on the queen's sheet and decide how it came about. There was only ever one outcome. 3. Each player marks the conclusion on their own sheet and tells the table an epilogue about where their character ends up. So that's the order. We're going to deal with the assassin, the queen, and then ourselves. All right. So, what is the tree under the mountain? I think, based on the rumors that we know, the tree under the mountain is dark and twisted. Like, it looks corrupted by evil magic, right? Like, there is something not right about this tree. Maybe it's like upside down, and like the leaves are like not green and lush. Like they look they look poisonous. Like this tree looks deadly. And we're not sure if it's alive or if it's just like a tree that's like corrupted and like I don't know. But it's clearly not a good there's an eerie vibe to this place.
Yeah.
Like it's not great. So, I think that is what the tree under the mountain is. Now, there are a couple of options for our conclusion for the assassin. Um, the assassin lies dead at the foot of the tree under the mountain. The assassin is left free, but is banished from Holloway. The assassin has proven their purpose and is allowed to do what they will, or something else entirely. How do we think this confrontation goes down?
Can I add a little descriptor? What in my head is going on with the tree?
Yeah.
So in my head, it's literally a tree under the mountain. It's like we have to traverse this deep cavernous system into like the center of this mountain, and it's just massive cavern. And like you said, the tree is growing upside down from the roof of the thing, and the ceiling's like hundreds of feet high, and the tree is like huge and thick and growing outwards into the space. And around it are just like pools of like cesspits and like poison and toxic gas. It's definitely a place of like you said, just poison and death here.
Yeah.
And that's where we head down. So anyway, that's my 10 cents for the area.
I love it.
There's everything in there. It's just like death, as befitting a place for the Prince of Death.
Yeah. Oh. Oh, for some reason we can't hear you, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. What's happening? Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. I got everything. Yep, you're good. Apologize.
I was saying I sort of like the idea of like the assassin doing this like as a you know, like tribute really to the Prince of Death. And
Ooh.
like he's making sort of like this like, you know, pilgrimagey mission to all the temples, right? Because that was one of our
Mm,
rumors.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And sort of, honoring, the Prince of Death. And like here he's like, I've done all the things to like, to offer this tribute to you. And like that's where we like find him, is like making this as like an offering to the Prince of Death. Um,
Wow.
just kind of semi connecting some of the pieces here.
Mm. Ooh.
Uh,
I
How
my in
do
my go on.
Well, I was gonna ask a question is how do both of your characters react to seeing this scene?
uh, I have another trait, um, an
Yeah.
item in my satchel. Um,
Ah.
is the sword of Hecuba Dawn,
Ooh.
Whoa.
that I was given by the Queen. And I imagine it's sort of like the like oh, what is a frame of reference example here? Let me just not do that. I think it like shines with like bright light,
Mm.
and like it's seeing like the like darkness and like the person in there in shadow chanting to like some sort of dark entity. Uh, I think I draw the sword for like the first time, and that's like my lead into this scene. Uh,
Yeah. How is Dante doing?
I think Dante is enraged. I mean, to be frank, this is kind of all that's keeping him alive.
Mm-hmm.
He's gravely wounded. He's in great pain. In the last place, he's going to drink himself uh, to relieve the pain and get some information. But this is like the sole focus for Dante. Dante has a mm, Dante has something that he acquired long ago,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and he was shown this by one of the ghosts, one of the first spirits that he came across, and is a needle tipped with grave dirt,
Whoa.
and it is kind of like what he's hoping to be like a final weapon. Like he believes like this is the thing that can kill anyone and anything.
Mm.
However, he's very a little bit hesitant because what would death be to a worshiper of the Prince of Death? You know.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Based on those two things, I'm gonna add two more little details. One
Mm.
is a rumor, and that is that the assassin carries a cursed blade made unclean by betrayal.
I
So
love that one.
there's like a darkened blade and there's a shining blade, and that the queen stands on the threshold between life and death, hearing the other side. And I think
Mm.
Dante, you hear the queen say, "Oh, Dante, now I understand who you were talking to that time." Because it's just
hmm.
kind of like she's just in her own little she's in her own little world, but she just kind of like, "Oh, now I get it," you know.
Yes, my liege.
And I think where Mala is at is unless someone stops her, she is absolutely at the ready. Like, Dante makes a very good point of like, well, is killing the assassin worth it for someone who worships the Prince of Death? Not sure, but Mala's like,
At the end of the day, we're here for revenge, right?
yeah,
We're here to
yeah.
kill this thing. That's all we're here for.
So I think unless someone stops this group, I think the assassin lies dead at the foot of the tree under the mountain by the time we're done.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
is that kind of the vibe? It doesn't have to be.
I feel like that seems correct, but uh, yeah.
I I
But
think.
there is
Oh, go off. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
there is merit to like the idea of like not killing this person. Like
Uh-huh.
you've done all this in favor of like death and like denying them it,
Yeah.
like as a method of revenge. But I do agree we came to kill them.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to, right? Mark,
Yeah.
what are you thinking? I feel like your gears are turning too.
Yeah. just in my head, I'm like, why would someone go to such lengths to
Mhm.
do this? And I'm thinking like maybe this was someone who couldn't die, who could never die, and like this was like their out. And whether we do it or the prince does it, it's like the same result either way.
Hmm.
Oh, interesting. So it was like they did this so that the Prince of Death will finally like take them away, maybe.
Hmm. That is interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm gonna okay. I'm gonna run with both of these because I like that. And I think we find this out. Like we are like there. Like we are present. We are at like we see the assassin at this altar that they have created to the Prince of Death, and we hear what they're saying. And I think we pause. And I don't think we throw our spears, and I don't think we let our blades loose. I think we just kind of go, huh, like, okay. Um, do we leave the assassin free but banish from Holloway? Or do we feel like in this case the assassin has proven their purpose and is allowed to do what they will? Are we just like forget it, or do we still try to like have some kind of punishment?
I'm gonna sound like a crazy person a little bit,
Not at all. Go on.
but I was thinking that like uh, if we do leave the assassin alive, that I can like pin the thing from the god of many sons onto him as like a curse, like uh, because like he does the whole death thing. He only travels in the dark, and like having like a beacon to like the god of many summers.
Yeah, that's good revenge.
Yeah, like I don't know, like some sort of curse tied to that.
I feel like it's a blessing almost. It's like the
Almost like a
opposite of a
little boat,
curse.
right?
Yeah. I think
Oh,
before you do that, I think Dante reaches up and looks at the tree. There's this emblem of the prince and his undeath or death, and cries out in just agony and suffering and loss, and just says, if this, I don't know, we've never established a gender, but if this person is to live, was to live forever, then put their curse on me. Give me, give me death. Give me life, so that they may have death. And I think Dante like pricks himself with that needle with the grave dirt, uh, and just becomes like kind of undeath like. Just becomes, the curse is removed from the assassin, put on the Dante, uh, and then Lark is able to pin that holy symbol onto the assassin. Um,
Interesting.
but Dante has given up what was left of his life to seek some kind of vengeance.
Interesting. And as a result, Dante is going to live a very long time. Ah, very juicy. Very, very juicy. Um, I think Amala, based on the fact that she has found out that like this person might be part of her heritage,
Mm.
you can use she knows how to use small magic to learn more about a person from just their blood.
Oh yeah.
And I think she just like takes a like a pinprick of their blood, and she seems like dissatisfied with the answer, and she's just like, well, even if you were like it's almost like testing conclusive. This is like what she gets almost, and she's just like, well, even if you were, I don't consider you one of mine for everything that you have done. Like she's bitter about it. She's really bitter. Um, and I think the assassin has proven their purpose and is allowed to do what they will. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've kind of all exacted our own forms of revenge on them. I don't know if Amala has anything else that she would want to do as a type of revenge, um, since she has decided to not necessarily kill them. Um, so that is the story of the assassin. And then the conclusion for our queen, which, as you both have seen from looking at that sheet, there is only one conclusion. The queen is truly dead, and her amalgam body lies lifeless. Her work is done, the assassin has been dealt with, and now she's like, okay, time to go. And that just leaves us and our conclusions. And there is a list of conclusions that you can look at on your character sheet, or something else. And why don't we? I'm gonna switch it up a little bit, but because Mark, you said a little bit about Dante already. Do you wanna tell us more about Dante's conclusion?
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. Dante remains under the mountain. He becomes the protector of the tree under the mountain, which is the final resting place of the queen.
Wow! Oh my gosh! Oh heck!
And then he's living forever. That's
And he's living
so
forever.
good.
Like
Mhm.
Amala's only gonna live so long. Like she can come and visit Dante, but at some point she's gonna be gone too. Oh, and Dante can see to ghosts. I'm having feels.
And anyone who approaches this cavern hears Evanescence playing all the time. It's just full emo goth in there all the time. Just sad boy Dante, undying, singing "Going Under" forever.
Save me from the
Mhm.
night.
Yep.
Andrew, what is Lark's conclusion?
So one of the conclusions here is an emerging leader in the growing revolt against the crown.
Mm.
I I think as Lark has gone through this journey, and with some information he had before the queen's death, that people are not being treated fairly across the world, and
Mm.
he's seeing that and saying that moving forward that should be a change. And so I think he just fills in spaces as different people in
Ooh.
disguise, and using his spy network to maneuver around and sort of create this revolt against the crown, and there
Oh,
being
wow.
a singular queen. And I think also it's secretly a the only queen that really was the queen is the one that is dead. And so he's against the idea of anyone else taking that place. So I think like
Interesting.
that's what he's doing. Right back to machinations and villainy.
Oh, that's
I
so
love it.
good.
Dante tore down the
Oh,
monarchy. Literally what every brown person's ever wanted to do.
so good.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And as for Amala, she, um, she becomes a student of the prison, studying her clan's disappearance, and she probably goes back to the Desert Bay, and I think she keeps in touch with Lark as best as possible. I don't think she wants anything to do with anything that's going on. She's just like I can't be bothered with any of like Lark, like go for it. You know, you have my blessing. She's like, but I gotta figure out this stuff with my people. You know, and like she didn't really get many answers from the assassin either, so she's just like I just gotta figure it out. I just gotta figure it out. I gotta focus on my people. Um, and so she becomes a student of the prison, studying her clan's disappearance, and uh, does kind of her own thing. And like occasionally will visit Lark, and will occasionally visit Dante, and that's how she spends the rest of her life. The last doctor of the desert.
Oh, love it. Love it.
And that's our game.
Woo!
We did it!
It's kind of heavy.
It is a little heavy. I did try to warn y'all, but I hope
Yeah.
it was fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. Y'all are
Yay!
great storytellers.
That was so good, y'all. Thank you for playing with me, and thank you for going on this journey. There's just the perpetual sound of blues music coming from under the mountains as they chill.
Dante finds a bass and just is like, "Doo, doo, doo."
Yeah, I
I
love
love it.
it. Oh, every time I play this game, it's a unique experience, and it's just like every single experience is so memorable.
Yeah,
It
there's so
has
many
like
ways
a
it can go,
yeah,
right?
so many, so good. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm not going to keep us any longer because we are at time. So let's do outros
No
in the
animals
same
were harmed.
order that we did our intros, starting with Andrew. Tell us who you are, where we can find you.
Hi, I'm Andrew. You can find me at ASuzaGM on Twitter and SuzaGM on Blue Sky. And I also am the GM of That's Dicey podcast. You can find that anywhere uh, listen to podcasts and stuff. And we also have a YouTube channel if that's a thing you prefer. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And thank you once again for agreeing to play with us on stream because I think you said this was your first.
Yes, my first time.
Yay!
Well done.
That's
Well
so
done.
exciting.
Yeah.
You did wonderful. You really did. Mark, I believe you're next.
What's the word, Blurs and Nerd? Mark J here. Um, there's so many things I'd like to share with you. But my first and foremost is Nunshot Podcast. This is my podcast where we explore the intersection between culture, race, and the TTRPG space. I've got a lot of great interviews, a lot of great people, including one Neelam right here. We did an interview. It was so much fun. One might be up on Spotify already, but again, we're exploring TTRPG space from by POC lens, and it's such a unique interview, and it's such a joy to hear those stories of BIPOC people because our stories aren't really told that much. I've seen a dozen interviews of pick your favorite white GM. I'm okay with that, but we need to be out there telling our stories as well. They're as important, if not more important, than pick your favorite white GM who's got lots of money to run their show. Anyway, beyond that, you can find Apochromatic. We've got our zine now. We've got our Patreon up. Please feel free to support us. If you can, check out the zine, read the zine, some great articles by myself, by Ms. Neelam, by a lot of Apochromatic Unlimited members. We put so much time and effort into that zine, and we're so happy to share it with you. In the end, if you do want to find me, if you find me at all cute or interesting, find me at More Than Merrier on Twitter or GM Mark J on Blue Sky. But that's me. Thank you.
Hey, and I am Leona Neela Maple. I was our facilitator today, not GM. This is a GMless game. And you can find me on Twitter, Twitch, Blue Sky, Instagram, probably a couple other places at the Leona Maple. It is the same brand wherever you want to find me. Follow me and keep up with what on earth it is that I'm doing. Twitter's still the best place for that, but other than that, um, oh, I'm going to also plug the fact that myself and a dear friend put together a GoFundMe for another lovely POC human in the space, KP11 Studios, who just recently went through a lot of like within the same week, a significant amount of hardship between losing his job, his home flooding, and there's a baby literally on the way. And that's a lot. Those That is a lot of expenses when you have property damage and when you have to pay medical bills with no insurance, and it's just a very tricky situation. And this is KP's first time becoming a father, and we didn't want this joyous, momentous occasion to be dimmed by that overwhelming fear of like debt and finances and all of that kind of stuff. So my dear friend Mouse and I put together a GoFundMe for KP, and in fact, there is someone streaming a charity stream right now to also. Oh nope, I think maybe she raided out. I was gonna raid into her, but nope, she is gone. Sensitive Joy and I are both doing charity streams this week in support of KP as well. So please go follow at Sensitive Joy on Twitch. Please feel free to follow me, the Leona Maple, on Twitch, and we will be doing charity streams to fundraise for KP as well. Um, because this is APOC Unlimited and we are about POC supporting POC within the tabletop RPG space, I feel like it's okay for me to shout that out. I'm not going to let us linger any longer. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. I'm so glad y'all enjoyed watching this game that I love playing. And yeah, have a good night. We will be back next week with Remnant on Monday night, I believe. So stay tuned for that. All right,
Women never
everybody.
ends.
Bye.
Good
Never
night.
ends.
Bye.
Bye.